my friend, calmness when it comes to music. For me, the meditative process of not worrying too much about, am I hitting right or wrong notes? Am I too fast or am I too slow? Am I too loud? Can I hear the other players or myself in the monitor? If we're not doing that like live, and if I'm just playing solo, am I overdoing it? Am I playing too many notes in a phrasing? Is it melodically pleasing? Does it stay within the diatonic 7 notes? Do the chords invoke emotion? And are the cadences danceable or groovable, or is it just abstract? So I don't really think about this anymore while I'm writing. No, reverse that. I don't really think about this as much when I'm playing, like improv, but when I'm writing, I do. I might take something that has like a A major, and then it works to the 3rd, and you feel that that C from the A with a 3rd in its bass, C sharp, wants to feel like the C sharp diminished to go to the D major. Just music theory, D major has a blaring C sharp diminished right before it, or an A dominant 7. So knowing that in the key of A, even though I'm not focusing on the D as the 4 chord, I'm focusing more on it like moving. Feels more like diminished, half diminished, full diminished. 9 chords with the augmented 5th. You could even throw out like D augmented. I do not think about these things while playing. Sometimes writing I do, but while playing, I'm trying to just think, what notes feel good? Over the top. It's a real Zen thing to not think about what just happened, don't really care about what's going to happen in the music, you know, per se, within time and measure, but more importantly, enjoying every note and frequency or construct of a dyad, or moving from one point of the instrument to another, how to hear the higher intonations or the lower intonations, how they relatively fit together, whether they're diminished octaves, 6 chords, dominant 7 chords, stuff like that, majors and minors. Don't really think about that while playing, but all the things that I've ever practiced ever for the last 30 years, they do come out in the playing, but it's not something mentally I'm focusing on in the moment. So the calmness, or the feeling of playing something with having a little bit of improvisation with it, and then not really knowing where you're going, but having a good feeling about what you've played. You use tricks and trades. You use the things that you've practiced, like your pentatonics. You see how those pentatonics work with their relative major pentatonic, using the same 5 notes in a different order of that 1 through 7 fashion. And then at a certain point, the notes that we hit wrong, or at least the notes that I hit wrong, become little doorways or passages to try something new or different. Now, what you'll hear from a bunch of like jazz players or improv players from jam bands or psychedelic rock is there really are no wrong notes. When you hit a wrong note, it opens up a passage to somewhere else, or a door, or an opportunity. And you know, at a certain point, that really is true. All notes want to augment themselves or diminish themselves to get resolution. So when we're playing like a G major, our secondary note, the A, wants to go up to the next note, the B, or it wants to go right back down to the G. That's just causality. That's how it feels to our ear, and that's what we're trained to hear, which is why most cadences are 1, 4, 5, 1, staying with the major chords that feel good. Maybe intermittently putting their relative minor, G's relative minor is E. Well, E is in the chord as the 6th. The 4 chord is the C, but it also is the relative minor, A minor, which is the 2 chord of G. And then when we play our D, our 5 chord, it turns out that the 3 chord is the B minor, which is the relative minor of D. So, do we truly have any different chords? It just basically depends on where you put these triads. They form relative major and minors to themselves. And the only triad or chord that's stacked tertiarily, that fits differently like a puzzle piece, is the diminished. But then, mind-numbingly, when we play G, A, B, C, D, E, and then F sharp diminish. F sharp diminish is very, very close to a D dominant 7. So are any of the chords any differently when you view them through the eyes of just the 7 notes making up 7 different chords, which just move these notes around and have push and pull towards each other? These aren't things that I think about when playing. The calmness that is achieved by hitting a wrong note and viewing imperfection while it happens is, for me, essentially the best part about not understanding anything. Not to say ignorance, I don't think that is the right phrase. I'm coming up with a lack of a term to explain it, but the unknowing, the not knowing where you want to go and not thinking about it and trying to play something in real time is as close to Zen that I can imagine or get to in my own personal life. So just a little idea. Maybe next time that you're playing with a group or you're playing with yourself and you've got like a backing track or a looper pedal going on, try to be free flow, a little avant-garde. Don't try and think I'm playing an A, my finger goes here, this is an A, wrong finger, right finger, this is good, this is a major third, this is a minor third, this is a dominant seventh, this makes up an alt chord, this is a major seven, this is a minor chord. Try not to overanalyze it. Get yourself a good rhythm, like let's say we're in the key of G still and we play like a G to an A minor to a G major, maybe a C, B, A minor, one chord to the two chord, one chord, and we're going to be doing a 4, 4, 3, 2. If you've got that looping, try playing your G major stuff. Use your arpeggios. See what feels good with these 3-note chords. You could even use relative minors, like if we're playing a G major, right? You can do your E minor or G major pentatonic, maybe not always in a linear motion. Up and down, try using the open notes. And at this point, the calmness that you could feel after having this progression, which just has our G in there, doing a pentatonic that you always know and then hitting a note that's not in that pentatonic, like our C sharp here, definitely is not in an E minor or a G major, but listen to what happens. Out of place, and it should, but that opens up the doorway to experience G major with a C sharp in it and go, what is that? G, A, B, C sharp is called a G Lydian, and G Lydian is only found in a certain key where G is the 4th. So if we take this and we go back down, we find ourselves playing D, E, F sharp, G, meaning G Lydian is very, 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 very close to D Mixolydian because it has that note in there. It also has an F sharp. When we play this Mixolydian, we would have our D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp. And that's why that G Lydian and that D major scale feel great together. You don't need to know the explanation behind that if you are naturally feeling those notes with your fingers going through scales and you're practicing the practice of practicing. And to end on what the video is actually about here, there is a supreme level of calmness that happens when you realize that wrong notes aren't wrong notes. Objectively, they might sound wrong. But then again, what do you want to do with this music? Where does it want to go? Does it want to be pretty or does it want to be ugly? Does it want to build tension? Does it want to invoke emotion? And what I've come up with and surmised is I don't think there is a right way or a wrong way to play anything or to describe anything, as long as you can, and it is, you are. Therefore, the end result is I don't believe there are any really wrong notes if you're practicing the practice of practicing. You start noticing C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C as being a C minor or a natural minor. When we start learning like a harmonic minor, adding back in that leading tone from the major relative, or actually even doing the 6th and those, you will start to see a difference in your playing just by knowing 3 wonderful states of being for the minor. But not knowing what melodic, harmonic, or natural minor are does not detract from the fact that you can play and hear notes that might not necessarily be within your A minor pentatonic. putting and devoting time to it, having fun with it, and finding calmness in hitting wrong notes, knowing that they're not really wrong notes, that you're opening yourself up to new experiences, is the best part about music for me. Especially with a group of people, especially taking notice what those are, and then having fun developing music or writing music together based off of those oopses. Because I can tell you this, is a personal note, musically and in life aside, most of the oopses in life are the things that make us who we are. So in music, the oopses, they're generally just the yin and the yang. It just depends on how you want to perceive it. Are the notes you hit right or wrong? Are the people you're playing with describing them as right or wrong? And how do you take those oopses and turn those into melodic gold? That really is the quest, isn't it? If you enjoyed this video and the other ones in this series, thumbs up. Try and watch them all if you can. Share. Other than that, on Mondays and Tuesdays, we do a little live session where we try to write melodies, write new chord progressions, and then get a basic understanding of music theory. So if you're at the point where you want to know what a G major is in comparison to a D major, how to play a G major scale, what the name of its mode is called, and how it relates to the other modes, pop on by on a Monday or Tuesday, 9 to 10 Hawaiian Standard Day. We'll probably be doing this for another year or a half, at least to 2025 in the mid. Anyway, aloha, thanks for being here.